Um, I don't want to take too much time on this because for those that have been on the call, we've already kind of gone over this quite a few times. And one of the things in this working group that we want to focus on is not just on AI, but more on the applications of data. We do have a data and interoperability working group, which tends to focus more on the lower level data, interoperability, data standards, data formats. Whereas this one is more on how we use data. And I think that's an important differentiation because the feedback that we've got is very much a case of wanting some help and maybe some guidance and around how to use data and how to set up organizations to successfully utilize data to its full extent, and not just jumping straight fully into AI. So I think that's one of the focuses that we want to bring out over the next year or so. And it can be in many different ways. It could be in in data visualization, digital twin simulation, even to the point of guidance in how to set up a data friendly environment. Next slide, please, Heather. So just we have a couple of publications. If anyone wants to go back, they're on the website. So we looked at foundations of AI. We put together a white paper, the framework of AI mining. That was a number of years ago, and we're going through an update. Peter will give us an update on that. And we also looked at sharing open data sets in mining. And that was an interesting topic in that we put together some guidance. We're still to get some traction on sharing the data sets. I think that's something that we might need to focus on in a few years' time. But if anyone's got any ideas on how to move some of these things forward, anyone's got any suggestions for data sets, then please put something in the chat, or as always, Heather Turnbull is our go-to person for the group. So if you're ever in doubt, if you've ever got any suggestions, if you want to help out in any way, please get in touch with Heather Turnbull and she'll be able to assist you. Next slide, please, Heather. So one of the things that we're focusing on, obviously, is our webinar series. We've got another webinar for you today from Leah. Again, there's about 60 people on the call, and I'm pretty sure there's a number of you that have got something really interesting to say around the AI and data space, and we would love to hear from you. So if you personally have something that you want to share, then please get in touch with us. Because one of the questions that we asked a couple of years ago was, what is it that you want from this working group, as a community? And a lot of the feedback that we got was, well, we want to know what's happening out in the big bad world, and that can be what's happening specifically in mining space, but it can also be what's happening in the data space, what's happening in general around AI. And so people are just looking for updates. If we've got anyone that's got some really interesting stories about data, AI, simulation, digital twins that they've implemented in a mining space or a manufacturing space, then that would be fantastic. That's the kind of thing that we're looking for. And so we will. Erman is looking after the webinar series, and he's putting together a schedule which we will publish later on. One of the things that we want to do, though, is we want to be more mindful about the education stream. So it's not just a webinar series; it's what else can we do in order to get information across. And so we're looking at different ways of doing this. It could be short papers, it could be podcasts, just different ways in which we can maybe get leaders in the industry together and sharing some of that information to the wider group. And again, this is people are doing this within the working group for you. for the wider GMG and mining communities. So we would encourage you to, drop something in the chat. Again, talk to Heather. What is it that you would like to see out of this education stream? Because at the end of the day, we're not going to produce something that people don't want to consume. So if we get your feedback, then that's something that we'll look at. We're going to formalise the industry education piece. So we'll write it up as a project proposal that basically will give everybody an idea of what's in scope and what's out of scope. So this is a great time for everybody to throw their hat in the ring, and give us some suggestions about what you would like to see. And another one that we're kind of looking at is the applications of AI in mining. So there've been people asking about, well, we've got these different technologies. We've heard about all these things, but how do we actually use them? If we're talking about neural networks, yes, okay, I understand what they are, but how do we use them? Computer vision, what computer vision applications do we have? This digital twin thing keeps, it seems to be very popular, but, where does it get used and what's it getting used for? And how do I get into it? How do I start to use this? And so I think that project is at the proposal stage. And so it's looking to see if we can define something which is going to be useful to the general community. So again, any ideas, please flick them out. And what we've done differently this year is we've tried to commit to a rolling four quarter schedule, just so that everybody has an idea of when this is going to come up. So June, September, and December, we'll be having working group calls. Hopefully there's no national holidays or anything in there so that we have to move them. Sometimes unfortunately things happen and we do have to move them, but as much as possible, those are the dates that we're going to be committing to. So we're going to have those updates. You'll get regular updates on what's happening in the projects. We'll always have a webinar with each one of them as well. But we're hoping that the webinar series can actually exist outside of the meeting schedule as well. But you can be guaranteed that we will be having meetings at least on that regular kind of cadence.